Who are they?
Very exciting, very exciting. So, and yeah, you mentioned 2023. We had two first-round draft picks. One of them being Danielle Boots, he made an impact on Utah. He played in the development camp game, the first game at the Delta Center. He's a 6'6", 215-pound, 20-year-old forward. He's kind of a bully on the ice. He's very agile. He scored like 4 goals in that development camp game, so we're really excited to see him. And what was kind of one of the worst kept secrets and one of the players that GM Bill Armstrong's talked about the most is Dmitry Simashev. They both were playing in the KHL in Russia. They both just won the championship, had great seasons. Simashev was the 6th overall pick in 2023 by the Arizona Coyotes, and he is also a 6'5", 210-pound defenseman, which is exactly what we've been looking for. And again, he's a bit of a bully. So yeah, and we signed them to entry-level contracts, so they only eat up less than $1 million a year, which leaves us more money to go out and find one of those exciting free agents everybody's talking about.
Okay, you made it sound like that's a small amount, but first of all, why did the team wait to sign them until now?
It's pretty common to draft somebody because in the NHL you draft at 18 years old, and then you give them a couple years to develop, especially if they're playing somewhere like in Russia or in the NCAA. And, Utah or, GM Bill Armstrong definitely knew that they'd develop well in the KHL. It's one of the top leagues under the NHL. And so we got to watch them develop for free, give them a couple years to age and be better, and then sign them to their entry-level contracts now. So now we have them until the season 27-28, like I said, $950,000 a year. So it's a great deal. We've been really excited about these two players.
Okay, you mentioned that these guys are both kind of bullies on the ice. Is that what the Mammoth need right now? What do they bring to the team?
That's exactly what they need. The Utah Mammoth is a very heavy finesse team. We have a lot of smaller guys that are high finesse players, and now we're bringing in some big guys that also have some finesse. So we're not taking anything away from the talent of the team. We're just putting a couple players out there that'll, take the body a little bit more and give us some more space for our other talented players. So they're talented, they're big, and they're gonna create space and maybe earn a little bit of respect for our lines out there.
Jay, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for being with me.
You bet. Thank you.
Joining me live, the host of the Utah Puck Report for KSL Sports, that's Jay Stevens. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky?
We are still working on the final cleanup of this crash northbound I-15 after 4500 south in Murray, still causing a little bit of backup in the area. You're moving, you're just not moving at the posted limit. The rest of your Salt Lake County freeway is not bad. We've also had an accident in Utah County northbound I-15 about a mile after Santaquin. It's been moved over to the shoulder, and the accident that we had in Ogden northbound Harrison Boulevard at 48th Street, it's been out of traffic on the right. That's already in the final clearing stages. Connect your family with nature this spring. Container gardening with plants from Olson's Greenhouse will get them off their screens and out in the yard. For tips and ideas, visit ogg.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-8 forecast going for 87 today. That's 10 above the normal, partly cloudy skies, and a slight chance for a shower in the mountaintops. 90 tomorrow, mostly sunny skies. We're at 91 on Friday. How about sunshine and 94? Downright hot Saturday afternoon. Sunday right there with it, 94, partly cloudy skies. Here comes a storm. Monday, breezy, chance for storms, 80 degrees. Then it showers, 72 on Tuesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now it's mostly cloudy, 82 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Still to come, a check of your money news. Looks like, the Dow losing some more ground. All the markets actually losing a bit in the last half hour. Complete update of your money news is coming up next. If you're like me, it took me quite some time to decide, now is the time to lose weight. And part of that was, I'm going to be better at eating. But I have to tell you, without a plan, it just doesn't happen. And I chose Salt Lake City Fat Loss because, first of all, it's an all-natural program. There are no injections, no drugs, no medications at all. And so there's no worry of side effects. And plus, this program works fast. I lost 25 pounds in the first 60 days. Many people lose up to a pound per day. And it's easy to stick with because you lose that weight quickly because it's just a simple combination of foods that melt the stored fat quickly. I can't speak highly enough about their app. It keeps you accountable. It gives you daily inspiration and some great recipes to follow so you just don't get bored with food. If you'd like to save $200 now on this plan, just call 801-450-1882 or you can go to slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com.
In today's digital world, outdated technology can slow you down. You need a partner who keeps you ahead of the curve. At Les Olson IT, we help your business thrive with top-tier office technology, from copiers and IT hardware to advanced IT services and security solutions. With Les Olson IT, you get more than just products. You get solutions, service, and a team that cares. Les Olson IT, empowering businesses with the tools for success.
Les Olson IT. Buying a home can be challenging. Good thing Mountain America Credit Union is on your side. With our homegrown home loans, you'll receive the local guidance and friendly service to finance your dream home. Plus, for a limited time, you'll get a free appraisal. Apply for your Mountain America homegrown home loan today. Details at macu.com/mortgage. On approved credit, membership required based on eligibility. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time. Some restrictions apply. Equal housing lender. NMLS ID 462815.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
KSL News Time 1254. A 12-year-old baseball player from South Jordan is heading to the World Series this fall.
Mason Swazo was chosen as one of Major League Baseball's 12 Players of the Month.
An entry piece like that of having to write a paragraph or two about a few different things. One was obviously sportsmanship. Two was leadership, community involvement, and kind of what he's done for the game.
Mason's dad, Nicholas Swazo, says he was looking for some tickets to an MLB game somewhere close they could fly to when the nomination form popped up on the screen. Major League Baseball and Chevrolet will be sending Mason and his dad on an all-expenses-paid trip to Game 2 of this year's series. Nicholas says they're hoping they can find a way to take Mason's mom and older sister along as well. Don Brinker-Huff, KSL News Radio.
Watching Utah's money, Sony is lowering the price of its PlayStation 5 as Xbox and the Nintendo Switch look to increase their prices. Fox Business reports the Days of Play 2025 will include several discounts on the console and its accessories. It starts June 11th. A restaurant inspired by the Rocky Mountains is making its way to Utah. Lazy Dog Restaurants is set to open in Murray next year. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down now by more than 200 points, just about 0.5%, sitting at 42,151. S&P down by 19 points, the NASDAQ down by 31 points.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
I'm back to doing what I love and more.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Are you struggling with pain in your feet, ankles, knees, hips, or lower back? At the Good Feet store, we recommend having high-quality support in all of your shoes. Our personalized arch support system has helped countless people find relief, like Karen. Here is her Good Feet story.
After I decided my pain was too much, and my doctor actually suggested that I do visit the Good Feet store. Pretty amazing when they put the arch supports in your shoe and you walk around and you realize there's not pain, and you think, how can this arch support in my shoe make my back pain go away? But it works. And how can it make my knee pain go away? It was incredible.
Come to the Good Feet store today and see what we can do for you. Good Feet arch supports are in stock and available in over 300 different styles and sizes.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Stop in today at the Good Feet store.
If you've got a honey-do list with electrical, plumbing, heating, or air conditioning projects on it, Any Hour Services can help. Call Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. anyhourservices.com.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky?
It is cleared. The accident northbound I-15 after 4500 South has been cleared completely. All lanes are now open, but what was left of the backup has now moved further north on northbound I-15. So between 33rd South and 2100 South, it's still a little busy. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A very slight chance of showers today, headed for a high of 87 degrees. Tomorrow we're going to hit a high of 90 degrees, and we're going to stay in the 90s for the next few days all the way through Sunday, and then a big change coming on Monday. Right now, mostly cloudy skies and 80 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Increased risks for drowning for your older children.
They're brave in the water. They've learned how to swim. They've gone through swimming lessons. They've gone swimming with their families. They feel like they have some independence in the water. They can touch most places except for the deep, deep end or in the lake.
The time is 1 o'clock on Wednesday, May 28th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, what you can do to help your kids stay safe around the water this summer. Also this hour,
it was just a shock that I'd be going to the World Series, and I never thought I really would.
One Utah teenager's journey to the World Series. But first, our top stories. After surviving an unimaginable tragedy, a West Valley teen is crossing the graduation stage today with strength and purpose.
18-year-old Shaw Ray lost his entire family in a murder-suicide last December. He was also shot, lost his vision, and spent weeks in recovery. But today, he's graduating from Granger High with nearly a perfect GPA and a message of resilience.
Time is like a leaf in the wind. It's unpredictable, unforeseen, and fleeting. You have to make the best of it.
Through it all, Ray says he's made unbreakable bonds with the people who've supported him.
Saying they're friends isn't really doing them any justice. They're more like family to me now. I love them with all my heart.
With his community behind him, Ray is setting his sights on the University of Utah, where he hopes to study family law and help others heal. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story from ABC News, a chaotic scene at an aid distribution center in southern Gaza this week as people who are experiencing starvation made a rush for food, water, and other supplies. Many of the people came out empty-handed, and the UN says one person died and 47 were hurt. Private contractors from the U.S. are running the security and distribution. President Trump reacted today at the White House.
We're dealing with the whole situation in Gaza. We're getting food to the people of Gaza. It's been a very nasty situation.
The incident at the aid distribution site highlights the major security obstacles facing the U.S. aid plan. ABC's Jordana Miller reports from Jerusalem.
The new American operation for distributing food to hungry Gazans closing its first hub just 2 days after opening. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation says it must make some, quote, arrangements. Likely those are security fixes. That after thousands of desperate Gazans overran the hub in Rafah Tuesday, damaging the facility. The UN reporting at least 1 killed, over 40 others wounded, some by gunfire. Jordana Miller, ABC News, Jerusalem.
Elon Musk says he's disappointed in the president's big, beautiful bill. Musk made his comments in an interview with CBS that came out last night. He said the legislation undermines the work of his Department of Government Efficiency. Another company lowers profit expectations amid the trade war.
Macy's sales and profit slipped in the first quarter, but actually it did better than most analysts had predicted it would in the first 3 months of the year. The retailer, which also owns Bloomingdale's, is citing more cautious consumers who they think might be worried that the Trump tariff policies will have a negative effect on the economy. Like other companies, including Walmart and United Airlines, Macy's is also trimming its profit forecast for 2025 because of uncertainty. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 149 points, more than 0.25%, sitting at 42,194. S&P 500 down by 11, the Nasdaq down by 4 points. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Here's Ricky Meese.
Back to a crash-free commute on your Salt Lake County freeways, but we still have a road closure. This is in Box Elder County, 1100 South Main Street in Brigham City, due to a rolled tractor trailer. If you're trying to get to I-15, you will need to find an alternate route. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Climbing to a high of 87 degrees today, 90 for the rest of the week, all the way through Sunday. And not a chance of rain until we get to Sunday. The big change coming on Monday, where we do have a 60% chance of showers. 82 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Greg Carlisle here for Jordan Camper, your truck accessory headquarters at 7000 South State in Midville. Why do I mention my name? For years, I've been the radio voice for Jordan Camper commercials, but I wanted to speak to you as a satisfied customer this time. I love the Line-X protective coating they sprayed on my front and back bumpers of my 2005 Mustang over 5 years ago, and it still looks new. Line-X is famous for durable truck bed coatings with a lifetime warranty. Jordan Camper is family-owned for 5 generations, and their team has over a combined 175 years in team experience installing truck accessories. I've seen them complete work for hundreds of satisfied customers over the years. These guys are good. Jordan Camper specializes in truck top shells and folding, retractable, and one-piece truck bed covers, and a wide range of accessories from fender flares, floor mats, to towing products. Check out their great showroom at 7000 South State in Midvale. More information at jordancamper.com.
As the weather warms up and kids get out of school, many are taking to Utah's waterways, including your average pool or hot tub. And that has warnings coming from experts to keep your kids from drowning. Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We begin today's show with a discussion on water safety. It comes following the near drowning of a 12-year-old boy in Eagle Mountain over the long holiday weekend. Jason Thorpe was celebrating his last day in the 6th grade with friends when he was found unconscious in a hot tub. His mother says that she believes he was taking part in a challenge to hold his breath underwater. Jason was found by an off-duty nurse who happened to be at the home, and she performed CPR. At last check, Jason was still in the hospital in ICU. One of Jason's teachers at an event making cards supporting Jason yesterday.
Just talk to your kids about safety. Talk to them about accidents that could happen during the summer.
The heart of today's story are the warnings from safety experts who say that as we head into the warmer months, it's incredibly important to be safe around the water.
Encourage friends to not egg each other on, dare them to go outside of their limits, encourage them to stay within those realms of safety. They should always have someone that's supervising the activities, whether that's a lifeguarded facility, a lifeguarded waterfront, or a responsible party that can be observing them. Anytime they go to waterfronts, they should have life jackets, not just available, but life jackets on. And especially here in our state with so much mountain runoff, stay clear of those the open rivers, and because those waters can quickly be dangerous and can sweep even the best swimmers away.
Kathleen Stedman is the Aquatic Operations Manager for South Davis Recreation and a board member for the Utah Drowning Prevention Coalition. She says the dangers are high for preteen and teenagers.
They're brave in the water. They've learned how to swim. They've gone through swimming lessons. They've gone swimming with their families. They feel like they have some independence in the water. They can touch most places except for the deep, deep end or in the lake. And so they are feeling confident in the pool or the lake, by the rivers, wherever it might be. The danger, though, because of that confidence, is that it easily and quickly turns into overconfidence, which can lead to a very scary situation.
She says the dangers are even higher for boys in that age group who often feel more brazen.
Innately, boys tend to egg each other on a little bit more, try to be a little bit more macho, try to be a little bit braver, and so they'll tend to try the riskier activities, try to be a little bit more risky in the things that they're doing or what they're encouraging their friends to participate and do, whereas girls tend to kind of steer on that safer side.
So what should you as a parent watch for? Stedman says most drowning signs aren't like the kinds you see in TV shows and movies. People aren't usually flailing around.
Usually drowning for this age group, if it's drowning just because they have gone into water that's too deep, it is going to look different. It's not going to be frantic arms waving, screaming. They're going to be slipping under the water, and you're going to see a little bit of motion and movement. More likely, though, if they're in a drowning situation, it's because of an injury of type. So in this case, the boy had lost consciousness because of breath holding. Maybe they were doing cliff jumping and hit their head or hit the water too hard and they lost consciousness. And so you have to be aware of those types of things as well, that an injury can cause a drowning that's not going to see, it's just all of a sudden going to be happening because they're injured and there's not anything more we can do to prevent it at that point.
In the end, Stedman says it's especially important to manage expectations when around the water and make sure that there's always someone watching when people are in the water.
Always go in a little bit less confident in your skills. Assume that you're going to need more help than what you may actually think normally. So go in assuming that you're a worse swimmer than you are. Assume that you're going to need a life jacket if you're in open water. If you're going to go cliff jumping, if you're going to go on a boat, you need to have that life jacket. If your friends are saying, oh, we can for sure swim this distance to this distance, assume that you can't without a life jacket. Assume that something could go wrong. Assume that you could get tired. Be bold enough and brave enough to stand up for yourself and say, this isn't a safe choice for us. This isn't a safe action. We probably shouldn't be participating in that. Another important thing is that no matter what age, there should always be a water watcher, someone who is responsible and not participating in the activity, just observing the activities to help make sure that they're not doing anything unsafe, like a breath holding contest, daring people to go do tricks off of a diving board or off of a cliff edge, anything like that, where they could get hurt. And someone who could observe if and when an emergency happens, that they could immediately stop, contact emergency personnel, or maybe get the person out of the water.
Water safety isn't the only kind of safety you need to be aware of this summer. In just 60 seconds, we'll tell you about other safety measures you can take to protect yourself and your kids when recreating in Utah's great outdoors.
Summer is right around the corner.
It's time to spring into summer with Soda Weight Loss. Today is a new day.
And a big day for you.
Why?
Why?
Because right now, you'll get our biggest discount of the year.
Do you know how good it feels to let go of 51 pounds of belly fat? And I did it without drugs, shots, or hunger. Because Soda Weight Loss works. Just look at all the Google reviews and all the thousands of before and after pictures.
Soda Weight Loss has one goal, and that's to help you let go of the weight for good.
So I lost 25 pounds. I was never hungry. It was very, very easy. I couldn't believe how fast the weight came off.
Now is the time to join America's #1 weight loss company for client satisfaction and results.
Hurry. Savings won't last long.
Let's go.
Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
The experts say a key to being safe when outdoors is being prepared not just with water, but in all sorts of situations. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi spoke with the Division of Outdoor Recreation Director Jason Curry about what that preparation should look like.
Know where you're going and what you're going to need to meet with anything you might encounter in terms of the hazards, the obstacles, the dangers, especially on the water. And we're seeing a lot of rise in paddleboarding and other water sports right now. It's just that time of year when weather's warming up and our lakes and reservoirs are getting busier. A lot of people have great familiarity with our life jacket rule. You have to have it on board, and that is the minimum requirement. And unfortunately, every year we see people who follow that minimum requirement and then meet with unexpected circumstances and lose their lives because getting that life jacket on while it's strapped to the front of a paddleboard after you've gone in the water can be really difficult, especially if there's any waves and wind and stuff like that. So that's a good example of the preparation you need. Just think through worst case scenario and the types of things that could go wrong and plan for the worst. And that includes on the trail, making sure that you have plenty of water, making sure that your cell phone is fully charged, and you have everything you need before heading out on that adventure.
He also says recreationists have become too comfortable with imbibing while on the water. He says following the rules will help you stay safe.
And then also, we've seen a troubling trend that continues when it comes to boating and operating an off-highway vehicle under the influence, both of which are a DUI. I think maybe just culturally and over time we've gotten comfortable with using alcohol while boating, using alcohol while on an OHV, and it's no different than out on the highway. In fact, it can be just as dangerous, if not more so, on the water and on the trails.
He says rangers are on hand not only to help in an emergency, but also to enforce those rules.
Well, our DNR law enforcement division has dozens of rangers every weekend out just in the effort to keep the public safe, keep them educated on what the laws are, and providing a whole lot of search and rescue response. This last Memorial Day weekend, we had a number of incidents where rangers were in the right place at the right time and able to render aid along with the county search and rescue and local EMS to be able to help people in those circumstances. But the best effort is what we can do preventatively, keeping people sober and safe out on the trails and out on the water. So every single body of water in the state where there's boating, you can expect to see rangers, including some of the places that might have been a little lighter on the enforcement side. Causey Reservoir is a good example. Causey Reservoir, typically a place where people are paddleboarding or using non-motorized boats, and there's laws and regulations and rules that keep the public safe, and you can expect to see rangers out at all of those locations. But if you're prepared and if you have everything you need, then they're just there and ask them a question and get guidance versus having to have them stop you or interrupt your day.
When it comes to hiking, Curry says you need to know your limits.
We've had a few incidents just this last weekend of people falling from height, and that, at the end of their hike, there may be a waterfall or there may be cliffs and other dangers that are out there. Either you're getting yourself into a situation you can't get down out of safely, and so stay at your comfort level and don't go above that level, and don't go above, if you're going to climb, let's put it this way. If you're going to do any sort of vertical travel, you don't want to go over your head level. So if you're climbing above where your eyes are looking out on the side of a cliff or whatever, that's about as high as you want to go without protection. So crash pads for bouldering and helmets and ropes and other gear needed for actual rock climbing. There was an incident in Adams Canyon this weekend, and there was an incident down in southeast Utah as well, where people fell from height and major injuries, and people have died from falls like that.
Curry adds, people need to make time to think ahead.
If you leave in a hurry, that's usually when you're going to forget something. So have checklists. Go online. There's a number of resources to be able to prepare for any outdoor adventure. Our website has a lot of suggestions, and can keep yourself safe and protect those that you're with. And then above and beyond that, protecting the resource as well. Tread lightly, leave no trace. Those are principles that will help make sure that we keep our trails and our waters and other outdoor recreation amenities available and sustainable for future generations too.
That is Utah's Outdoor Recreation Director, Jason Curry. After the break, I'll look at the Trump administration's latest moves dealing with international student visas. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky?
We've had some unusual heavy and slow traffic northbound I-15 approaching and passing 53rd South in Murray. No accident reported there or on any of your Salt Lake County freeways, and it does look like these backups are starting to thin out. All tickets are on sale now, so claim your spot and start planning your perfect Park City night. Details at DeerValleyMusicFestival.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Jeff Kaplan.
His Minute of News is great. It's always entertaining.
I listen to Jeff Kaplan every day. He gives you important news and traffic and the familiar voice that helps you enjoy the ride home.
I really like Jeff's Minute of News. He's calm and he's balanced.
I really enjoy driving home and just listening to what he's got to say.
Jeff Kaplan gets me home every day.
Join the community that relies on Jeff Kaplan. He has you covered. Afternoons from 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Market volatility isn't slowing down. If you're nearing retirement, now is not the time to wait and see. Every day of uncertainty can put your future at risk. It's time to diversify. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I want you to know you can create certainty, locking in guaranteed income for life. This means predictable, stable cash flow, even in turbulent times. You've worked too hard to leave your retirement to chance. Right now, there are options to receive up to 30% upfront or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't wait. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. 801-899-7600.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Any examples provided are hypothetical. Annuities are issued with prospectus and sales brochures and should be reviewed carefully before funding as features and benefits vary. DBA in most states as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
An Australian hiker travels to the American West to walk a wilderness trail.
Wasn't afraid to be out on his own.
But Eric Robinson vanished in the high Uinta Mountains.
I remember thinking, Eric, what were you thinking, mate?
I'm Dave Cawley. Join me on my podcast, Uinta Triangle, where I travel the world to answer the question, what happened to Eric Robinson? Follow Uinta Triangle. That's UINTA Triangle on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
Something about me. I don't like to settle. I work hard to be my best self, and I want a vehicle that matches. So I'm shopping for a Cadillac because their innovation and craftsmanship are top of the line. With a whole line of electric SUVs packed with state-of-the-art technology, I know I'll be driving away in redefined luxury. Help all of us at Jerry Seiner Cadillac celebrate our new location with an incredible buying experience for your dream car. Come in today to experience the Seiner difference.
Pantheon Clinical Research is conducting a chronic migraine clinical trial. Located just minutes from Salt Lake City with plenty of free parking, this study is open to children ages 12 to 17 who suffer from chronic migraines. To pre-qualify, your child must have 8 or more migraine attacks each month and at least 15 headache days. They should also currently be taking or have taken oral medication for migraine relief. All study-related visits, tests, and medications will be provided at no cost. Plus, reimbursement for study-related travel may also be available. As a parent, it's never easy to watch your child suffer. This is your chance to help them find relief. For more information, call Pantheon Clinical Research at 385-281-0550. That's Pantheon Clinical Research, 385-281-0550. Or visit us online at pantheonclinical.com. Again, that's 385-281-0550. Or go to pantheonclinical.com.
You are listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has ordered U.S. a pause in scheduling new interviews for student visas as the government attempts to boost screening of applicants' social media accounts. ABC's Rachel Scott broke down the State Department's plan to halt student visa interviews with Start Here host Brad Milkey.
When President Trump took office, it was clear that government offices were about to undergo radical change. From the Pentagon to the Department of Education to the EPA, priorities were going to change. Programs were going to be gutted. What a lot of Americans might not have expected is how much the Trump White House would try to leverage public resources to influence private institutions, perhaps none more so than American colleges.
The federal funding freeze at the University of Pennsylvania.
Columbia University scrambling to meet a list of demands.
Both NU and Cornell have had funding paused amid civil rights investigations.
In recent weeks, we have seen just how far the administration is willing to push universities to adopt its priorities. That might mean cracking down on anti-Israel protests. It might mean abandoning scholarship programs or hiring practices geared towards promoting diversity. And while you might think to yourself, well, how much can the government really do? These are private entities. The government has lots of ways to reward or punish colleges. Federal agencies devote billions in funding to research programs. The DOJ oversees prosecutions of schools seen to be violating civil rights laws. And the U.S. State Department issues thousands of visas every year to foreign students who want to come study at these schools. Well, yesterday, a diplomatic cable from the State Department disclosed that all of those prospective students overseas might have to put their plans on hold. The line for student visas has been halted. Let's start the day with ABC senior political correspondent Rachel Scott at the White House. Rachel, this is for every foreign student across the board? What's happening here?
Yeah, this is just another major escalation in this tit for tat that we are seeing with the Trump administration and universities, including Harvard University. But now this one takes it to a whole new level. So we obtained this memo that was from Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who is now ordering U.S. embassies to temporarily pause scheduling new interviews for student visa applicants. He says in this memo, Brad, that they're doing this as they're trying to review a process to screen the applicants' social media accounts.
We will continue to use every tool we can to assess who it is that's coming here, whether they are students or otherwise.
This would be a significant expansion of how the administration is vetting these applicants who want to come and study at America's universities to come into the United States. As of now, those who have scheduled interviews can still proceed. But the bottom line here, Brad, if the administration does go through with this as planned, this could severely slow down how visa applicants are processed. It could also hurt universities that really rely on international students for their funding.
And in terms of the rationale here, why is there a need to go through these students' social media presences? What are they hoping to find, I suppose?
Yeah, it's really the big question here, right? Because maybe social media is not at the top of the list when you think about the administration considering students that want to come to America's universities to study. But this comes as the administration really has zeroed in on students who have participated in protests against Israel's actions in Gaza.
I think it's crazy. I think it's stupid for any country in the world to welcome people into their country that are going to go to your universities as visitors. They're visitors. And say, I'm going to your universities to start a riot. I'm going to your universities to take over a library and harass people. I don't care what movement you're involved in.
And Brad, this isn't something that the administration is shying away from. Secretary Rubio said the administration has probably revoked thousands of visas in just the last several weeks.
Well, and so if that is what this ends up being about, then, I mean, it does send the message that your political beliefs would have a direct impact on your admission, right? Like even if you're studying for biology or something. So I guess even if it's temporary, how could this affect colleges? Because at this point, I got to imagine these foreign students are a big part of student bodies.
So the impact here is twofold. Yes, you have international students that want to come to America's universities. They want to study here. But also for colleges and universities, this is a significant source of revenue. You have international students that come here, they study at our universities. They're paying the full price of admission, Brad. And many of these universities rely heavily on those foreign students to really fill out their budgets. Not only is it a significant source of revenue, when these students graduate, a lot of them are likely to stay here in the United States. They're likely to build small businesses. They are folded into the fabric of our economy. And so the question is that if they're not studying here, are they now studying at other universities in other countries and really help boosting their economics more than America's?
This is like the thorny issue here in all this, right? Is you do have a lot of students who come here for 4 years or for a graduate program or whatever. They get a ton of classes, a ton of education, then they bounce. And so a lot of Americans are like, I'm sorry, why wouldn't we reserve that space for an American? You know, the schools routinely say, hey, like it's good for the school so everyone knows we're attracting the best and the brightest. It's also good for the country. Like you don't know if the next person to cure cancer might be one of those students waiting in line for a visa appointment. Like all the best and brightest aren't American. You mentioned Harvard earlier, how they pushed back against all this in a way a lot of schools really hadn't dared to. What's the latest with the Harvard thing? Because the government's been clamping down on them even harder, it seems.
Yeah, another escalation in all of this. You just mentioned Harvard is standing firm. They really aren't reversing course. They're not showing any signs of budging here. So the Trump administration is now digging in even further, and they are now set to cancel all the federal government's remaining federal contracts with Harvard University. This is an estimated $100 million, Brad.
There are about 31%, almost 31% of foreigners coming to Harvard. We give them billions of dollars, which is ridiculous.
The administration has already frozen $3.2 billion in grants and contracts with Harvard. And yes, this is a prestigious university with a lot of alumni who definitely pour back into the university. But this is definitely something that could cripple their financial health. And the president's already thinking of other ways to use that money. He says he's considering sending it to trade schools instead.
Yeah, it's interesting. It took decades for the U.S. to be seen as this magnet for international students, and now a potentially huge moment here for American education, depending on how long these holds last. Rachel Scott at the White House, thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
That was ABC's Brad Milkey speaking with Rachel Scott. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. Hello, I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Safety tips for all kinds of caregivers to protect themselves. A 12-year-old Utah boy heading to the World Series. And KSL traffic. Ricky?
We do have a report of a new accident in Davis County, southbound I-15, going from Bountiful to Woods Cross near 2600 South. It may be blocking a left lane of travel. Maria?
Thanks, Ricky. KSL's top local stories in 1 minute, but first, the latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Wayne Cabot. Mohammed Sinwar, brother of the mastermind of October 7th, took over when Yahya Sinwar was killed by the IDF. Well, now he too has been killed by Israeli forces, says Prime Minister Netanyahu. President Trump is warning Netanyahu to hold off on any Iran strike to allow him more time to push for a new nuclear deal with Tehran. The president also says he's open to pardoning the men who were convicted in a plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. 14 men were charged, 9 were convicted, and about those 9...
I'm going to look at it. I will take a look at it. It's been brought to my attention. I did watch the trial. It looked to me like somewhat of a railroad job, I'll be honest with you.
Macy's CEO Tony Spring is reporting he is now seeing some price increases because of the tariffs. So now Macy's is diversifying the origin of its products and will pull some items when the math doesn't add up. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. Is your grass starting to feel crunchy? Experts say if you haven't already, it's time to turn your sprinklers on. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
Utah State University Extension horticulturist and co-host of the KSL Greenhouse Show, Ton Bettis, tells me whether you've started watering or not, your grass might not look its best for the next couple of months.
It's normal in the wild for them to go dormant
and we just force them to stay green.
Ton says dormant doesn't mean dead, though. He says your grass will survive so long as you're giving it at least an inch of water per month.
Ton says watering twice a week should be enough, but when it's dry and in the 90s, like this week, he says you might want to do an extra one or spot and water any brown spots. Utah is getting hotter and drier, leading to increased fire danger and longer fire seasons. Research teams at the Climate Central pulled weather data from 1973 to 2024 and found in western Utah there are 34 more dry, hot, and windy days. John Smith with North Twilla Fire District agrees. He says they have also seen an increased number of fires caused by recreation and travel.
Hot breaks. They are dragging chains. People throw cigarettes out the window. When they have car trouble, they'll park on the side of the road and they'll pull the car into high, dry vegetation, and that will catch on fire.
Smith says 92% of wildland fires in the state are human-caused. Democrats in Utah are gaining ground in voter turnout. It's one reason the chairman of the Democratic National Committee visited the state this week to discuss election strategies.
We're trending in a direction that is fortuitous for the Utah Democratic Party, and we see that as these elections pass by.
That is Municipal Director of the Utah Democratic Party, Talon Hansen, who met with the DNC chairman. Hansen says Kamala Harris performed better in this last election than any other Democratic nominee in Utah since President Lyndon Johnson. Now, members of the party are working together to increase their visibility in the next election. Cryptocurrency and 401k plans could become more common. The U.S. Department of Labor is pulling back on some advice given in 2022, advising against investing in digital currency among retirement plans.
And I think what that means is that they have a little more confidence in the regulation of cryptocurrency, or at least the watchdog organizations are starting to notice what to look for when it comes to cryptocurrency.
DMBA certified financial planner Shane Stewart says the investments are still extremely unpredictable and he can't see the department endorsing it, but the risk is lower than it's ever been. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow down by 176 points on some earnings reports. It sits at 42,167. S&P 500 down by 15 and the NASDAQ down by nearly 17 points. Traffic and weather brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky?
Again, a reminder that we have a road closure in Brigham City. It's 1100 South Main Street due to a rolled semi. This is going to take a while to clean up. That road closure being blocked off is expected to be closed for a while. Find an alternate if you need to get to I-15. Also a lane closure. This is in Murray, eastbound 4500 South at about 250 West. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The heat is on. Expected to hit a high today of 87 up to 90 tomorrow and then staying in the 90s until Sunday. 84 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studio.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house. Whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, we're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried, because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy-downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
Progressive knows when you're in your RV, you're already on vacation. That's when you become Vacation You, who just camped where there's absolutely no shade. Even though regular you burns easily. In fact, Vacation You burns too, but is too stubborn to admit it, which is why regular you gets in trouble at the dermatologist, because Vacation You doesn't do doctors. So bundle your RV with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
You were listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. A 20-year-old caretaker from St. George continues her recovery today following a devastating stabbing over the weekend while taking care of people with intellectual disabilities. Police have arrested 72-year-old Keith D. Johnson on suspicion of attempted murder. According to the police affidavit, Courtney Mansfield said Johnson attacked her while she sat on the couch. Matt Hansen, executive director of the Home Care and Hospice Association of Utah, told KSL-TV that healthcare employees need training for kinds of situations like this. It got us thinking, what about the unprofessional caregivers in Utah, the folks caring for family members, for instance? One of the most common kind of family caregiver is the person caring for someone with Alzheimer's or dementia. What can be done to keep everyone safe in these kinds of situations? I spoke with Stacy Culp, executive director of the Utah chapter of the Alzheimer's Association, to get her advice for people helping family members with these diseases.
Well, I think one of the most important things is ensuring that the caregiver is educated on the disease and what to expect kind of along the journey, because obviously as the disease progresses, things can change, and just so one, having just a better understanding of the disease itself. But I think even more important to that is just knowing the resources that are available, specifically our helpline, which is staffed by, master level trained clinicians that really are the experts when it comes to dementia and can help navigate the caregiver and the person living with the disease through the journey.
Describe for us what caregivers experience when helping a family member or a neighbor or even professional caregivers when dealing with someone who has Alzheimer's or dementia.
Well, we know statistically that it takes a much greater toll caregiving than it does for, other diseases or, conditions that may need a caregiver. Over 74% of caregivers are, very concerned about maintaining their own health. This is a 24/7 disease, and we want to ensure that the caregivers are putting their health first so that they can take care of the individual in their home. And obviously, we understand and we want people to be able to live in their home for as long as possible. But I think it's also for the caregivers to know what the journey ahead is going to be like, but understanding that before it gets to a point where they have to quickly make a decision in regards to either their health or the health of the person that they're caring for.
I know this can be pretty individual for each person that they are taking care of, but what would be some of the signs that someone should probably have a more professional person take care of the person, or maybe that they do need to go to maybe a long-term care facility?
That's such a great question, and I'm glad that you asked that because we actually have that information on our website. This is, we offer a lot of kind of free education and information to caregivers, and one of those is kind of the signs and the symptoms of caregiver stress. And it kind of walks through understanding what to look out for as a caregiver, and then kind of knowing then when they may no longer be equipped, right, to provide around-the-clock care for their loved one. And then, of course, at that point, reaching out to the Alzheimer's Association because we can explore options for care, and either that's in home or, day centers, long-term care, et cetera. But it's important for caregivers to understand those signs. And it's not just for the caregivers, for those of us that know people that are caregivers. It's great for us to have this information as well so that we can kind of be, looking out for the caregiver and making sure that they are taking care of themselves.
Right. What would be some of those signs?
One, this is a very isolating disease, right? And so for caregivers that, maybe are not showing up to social events, right, or family events. If you're an employer, you might be noticing that one of your employees is starting to show up late to work, right, or needing to take off an excessive amount of time, or needing to have a reduction in their hours. Maybe they're not, kind of taking a step back as far as their responsibilities, or not, asking for promotions or whatnot. These are different things that can kind of signal if the person is caring for someone, they may need some additional help and resources. Sometimes caregivers will often not go to their own doctor's appointments, right, or miss them or cancel them, understandably, because they're caring for a loved one.
Describe for us what's happening on the side of the patient who has Alzheimer's or dementia. Why do they sometimes become aggravated?
The umbrella term is dementia, of course, right? And there's those different types of the dementia, Alzheimer's being the number one, or the most diagnosed. And it's understanding the disease, that their perception of reality is much different than ours. And in their world, wherever they're at in the stage of the disease, it really is their reality. And that parts of the brain are dying off. And so, again, I think number one is just having an understanding and education of the disease, so that if your loved one is lashing out, or they're just having very different behavioral changes, that it's the disease, it's not them. But it is their reality. It is their perceived reality.
So if someone does find themselves in a situation where they're dealing with someone who is aggravated, how do they keep themselves safe? What is your advice?
Well, I think, again, understanding the disease, reaching out to our helpline early on, so that they can kind of know the different stages of the disease and how it progresses and kind of what to expect. Of course, we want to make sure that individuals caring for a loved one, if they start to see more aggressive behavior, it's always advisable that they're contacting the police if necessary. But when they do contact the police and alert them of the circumstances, to also share about the individual's condition is really important there. We're actually working, the Alzheimer's Association is working with first responders to provide training so that they're better equipped to deal with and communicate with individuals who might be, confused and frightened and disoriented. But really using our helpline as a resource. It's free. It's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And again, these are dementia experts. And so, as a caregiver is noticing changes and they just don't know how to react or diffuse the situation, being able to have that number kind of on speed dial, honestly, is a tremendous resource.
What we saw this past week was a pretty rare situation, but how often do caregivers have to deal with situations like this?
I don't know the statistics, but honestly, we absolutely hear about it a lot. And nothing. I think what's important is when people initially hear these stories, is because we don't necessarily know if the individual had Alzheimer's or related dementia, but first kind of understanding the situation, and I think it's just great for those that are caring for anyone, regardless if it's an Alzheimer's or a related dementia disease, is just keeping their safety in mind, right, and having that awareness.
Any final thoughts you'd like to add?
I think that just stressing the importance of, again, caring for someone with Alzheimer's or related dementia takes a toll. It takes a great toll on a caregiver. And we at the Alzheimer's Association have a number of those resources, support groups, whether it's in person or virtual. We now have an app that is readily available to individuals with the disease and early diagnosis, but also for caregivers. And then our 24-hour helpline there's a number of resources at their fingertips. And like I said, it is can be a very isolating disease. And so just stressing to caregivers or people that know someone that's caring for someone that there are a lot of resources available to them for free at 24 hours a day.
Stacy Culp is the executive director of the Utah chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. After this quick 1-minute break, we'll take a look at another angle associated with this story, what homeowners can do to keep themselves safe and secure if a stranger is in their home.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
As we've been following this caregiver stabbing in St. George, we thought about the average homeowner. There's a pretty good chance that you'll have strangers in your home at some point, whether that's a maintenance worker, a mover, or even a party guest. What can you do in those situations to keep yourself, your property, and your pocketbook safe and secure? Unified Police Sergeant Amy Race has some tips.
You know, one of the things that I think is just very important is, talking to friends and family of who they have used previously, whether it's a plumber or an electrician or, a general contractor. If they can reach out to family and friends and be like, have you used this business or what businesses have you used? And do your homework prior to even reaching out to those services. Look on Google and read the reviews, see what they say. You can even, sort those out to the bad reviews to determine some of those. Looking up Better Business Bureau, seeing what type of incidents have occurred there. If there's a lot of negative ones, they get a score rating on that. Doing your homework before you make contact is very critical because once you make that contact, that's where the process begins. From there, it's very important just to make sure, don't do any verbal contracts. Make sure everything is in writing, whether the letterhead looks legitimate, and be leery of excuses. If you're meeting with these contractors and they're giving you excuse after excuse, I'd be very cognizant of, wanting to work with them or not. And from there, just, also making sure that whatever business it is, are they the ones that are actually going to be doing the business? Or are they going to be subcontracting this type of work out? That's very critical. As far as in-home stuff, I can get into that, but that would be my first steps in, making sure that people are safe.
Right. Doing your homework first, but then once they are coming into your home, what should we be thinking about?
I always think, once they're coming in, always make sure that it's you that's there for the first or two visits if it, is something that they're just coming to give you a quote on. I always like to recommend, if you can, have a family member or a neighbor you trust or a friend be there in the home. Or if you have the option, do interior cameras when they're there and, determine exactly what hours are they going to be there. Are you going to come at 8 or are you coming at 7:30? What time are you leaving? But again, I think it's very important. If you can have somebody there, please have someone there.
What are some red flags that people should watch out for?
Again, I think going back to be leery of excuses. If you're working with someone and all of a sudden they say, oh, looking at this job, I think I'm going to need more money than initially quoted. That would be concerning. Or if they're saying, sorry, some things came up, I can't be out there. Or if they want a full payment up front, again, that's why it's important to go back to doing your homework. Like, what is the industry standards for the cost of materials up front? paying just that until the job is complete rather than the lump sum of, the whole project is always important too. And sometimes some of those people will push for, I need a full payment up front. No, having that research of this is the industry standard, I can pay you X amount up front for materials, and then when the job's complete, I'll pay the final amount.
What about our personal safety? What should we consider when it comes to personal safety with people in our home?
I always like to say when business hours for most people, 8 or 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. and just say, I'm going to have someone else in the home with me at all times. And, how many workers do you plan on having there? That's always important. That way you're prepared as someone comes into your home. Am I going to have 2 workers in my home, 4 workers in my home? And if you can, just, have people who are upstairs where you can easily exit if something gets, concerning where you don't feel safe. Always keep your phone by you. And again, I always tell people, never, if you do not feel safe, please call 911 and let us know that you do not feel safe. And we can send officers out there and, have them there within a rapid response to check on your safety.
Right. There is something to instinct, right? If you don't feel safe, if there's a sign or something that makes you feel uneasy, you're probably not safe.
Yeah, and it's just, just if you're near doors all the time or, in a living room where you're close to a door and you can have that phone with you, start calling on your way out and speak to that officer, and just get out of that home if you don't feel safe. Again, I would rather people always call if they're concerned about their safety rather than trying to debate, should I or should I not call 911? We would rather respond and find out, hey, you know what, I think things have mellowed out, than unfortunately respond to something where you don't feel safe and things got out of hand.
Unified Police Sergeant Amy Race with those helpful tips. From rec basketball to the World Series, we'll tell you about the journey of one 12-year-old here in Utah. But first, it's KSL Traffic brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky?
We've had some busy traffic on northbound I-15 approaching 33rd South up to 2100 South. It looks like it's starting to thin out. And the crash that has the road closed in Brigham City, you'll need to find an alternate to I-15. This is at 1100 South Main Street. A rolled semi has that road closed to traffic. See American Mosaic. This outdoor patriotic show combines talents of Jenny Oaks Baker, Ben Lomu, BYU folk dancers, and more. Celebrating God, country, and culture. June 9th, tickets at jennyoaksbaker.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
If you're thinking this is the time that you'd like to slim down, this summer is your time, you need to have a plan. I've tried so many times to lose weight without a plan. I want to tell you about one that's worked for me and tell you why I've selected it. And it is Salt Lake City Fat Loss. And I've selected it, number one, because it's an all-natural plan. I don't have to worry about any side effects from drugs or surgery or any sort of injections. It's all natural, just a simple combination of foods that help you burn off that stored belly fat. I've lost more than 40 pounds with the help of Salt Lake City Fat Loss, 25 pounds of that in the first 60 days, and many people lose up to a pound per day. Plus, it's easy to stick with because you lose that weight quickly, so it keeps you motivated, and it's simple to follow, just a simple combination of foods that burn that stored fat. Right now, you can save $200. Just go to slcfatloss.com to learn more, and you can even do a virtual consultation, or you can call them 801-450-1882. That's slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
Do you need new windows? Look, all glass pretty much looks the same to the naked eye, but if your windows aren't triple-coated, argon-filled and sealed double-pane glass, the cold is seeping in. You need to call Advanced Window Products. They use the highest quality glass and premium vinyl to create state-of-the-art windows and frames, and for 38 years, they build those frames right here in Utah. Custom crafted for Utah's climate. The best windows you can buy at prices 30 and 40% less than what the big companies charge because they cut out the middleman. They're the factory. They even give you a lifetime warranty, and right now as we head into spring, save an extra $2,500 off 10 windows or more. Custom windows that'll give your house a fresh new look and save you money on your heating and air conditioning. Advanced Windows offers 60-month 0% financing, even buy now, pay later, and an extra $2,500 off. Call for a quote. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100 or go to advancedwindows.com.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
This is Midday with Maria Shilaos. A 12-year-old who plays in South Jordan's baseball rec program will be heading to Game 2 of the MLB World Series this fall.
A couple nights ago, we won our championship game. Our season went pretty good. We went 11-1, 11 wins, 1 loss.
Mason Suazo was nominated for the MLB Player of the Month program by his dad, who says he's a good sport and is a real leader on and off the field. KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff spoke with both Mason and his dad to find out how this all came about.
Mason's been playing baseball for a couple years, and as he's gotten older and progressed and gotten more interested in the game, I wanted to find something that he and I could, perhaps identify with the team and start to follow and possibly go see a game, right? And so I had hopped on the MLB website, so the Major League Baseball, started looking at tickets for games down in Phoenix or Las Vegas or Seattle, somewhere that we could fly to a nearby national team and go see a game together. Well, as I was doing that, the MLB had a pop-up on their website that, it essentially said, hey, MLB is looking for Players of the Month nominations for kids between the ages of 5 and 12. And so I clicked on it, taken a look at it, and it was kind of an entry piece like that of having to write a paragraph or two about a few different things. One was obviously sportsmanship. 2 was leadership, community involvement, and obviously, kind of what he's done for the game.
Mason is being recognized as one of Major League Baseball's 12 Players of the Month. That and the trip were something he never dreamed of.
It was just a shock that I'd be going to the World Series, and I never thought I really would.
Major League Baseball and Chevrolet are sending Mason and his dad on an all-expenses-paid trip to Game 2 of this year's series.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
Real estate prices are still high in Utah, but it is coming down in one spot.
Home prices in Logan have lowered enough for the city to be ranked 5th in the nation for price decline by the National Association of Realtors. They say the median home sales price in Logan has dropped 5.8% from last year.
The time is 2 o'clock on Wednesday, May 28th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we'll get an expert's perspective on what's causing this price drop. Also this hour,
you have a lot of area out there that is just ripe to burn, and traditionally that hasn't been a big deal because there's nobody out there.
How Utah's growth is increasing the risk of wildfire damage. But first, our top stories. A Roy man is now facing an attempted murder charge after police say he made a phone call while in jail where he talked about trying to shoot a man in Layton. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
Chase Birmingham was arrested after police got a call saying he'd shown up at a guy's house, pointed a gun at a victim, and then tried to push his way through the front door. The encounter was captured on a neighbor's surveillance camera, and Birmingham was taken to jail. But it was there, court documents say, that he made several phone calls. One where he told someone the Layton guy was lucky to be alive because he had one in the chamber. He pulled the trigger, but nothing happened. Birmingham was already on parole. He was convicted of attempted aggravated robbery back in 2023. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel killed Hamas's leader Mohammed Sinwar. He was the brother of Yahya Sinwar, one of the masterminds of the October 7th attack. The former prosecutor, judge, and Fox News host has been sworn in as U.S. attorney. At the swearing-in ceremony, President Trump praised Jeanine Pirro.
Over 5 decades, Jeanine Pirro, known by millions as Judge Jeanine, has devoted her life to the pursuit of justice, the defense of freedom, and the fair, equal, and impartial rule of law, and that's what she's about.
Pirro would need confirmation from the Senate to hold the position permanently. A majority of mothers of younger children say that they aren't in a healthy mental space now. That study from JAMA Internal Medicine found in 2016, 40% of the mothers surveyed said their mental health was excellent, but in 2023, that number dropped to 26%.
We have to get rid of the mom guilt. So I hear so many women, myself included, who say, I can't take an hour out of my day away from my kids to do things like exercise or take a walk or focus on my sleep or maybe meet with friends because we feel guilty, right? That has to move up on our priority list.
That is ABC News Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Tara Narula. Taking a look at your money at this moment. At the close, the Dow losing some ground, ending down 245 points, more than 0.5%, sitting at 42,098. S&P down by 32 points. The NASDAQ down by 98 points. Both of those about 0.5%. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky?
Crash-free and good speeds on all your Valley freeways. We still have a road closure for Brigham City drivers. This is 1100 South Main Street. This is between I-15 and Medical Drive, where the road is closed due to a rolled semi that will still take quite a while to be cleared, so plan an alternate route. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A very slight chance of showers today, disappearing tomorrow, though, and then no chance of showers until Sunday, and our temperature soaring into the 90s through Sunday. Right now, 84 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
It's time for the KSL Give-a-thon.
We need your help raising money for sick Utah kids receiving treatment at Primary Children's Hospital.
Go to KSLkids.com and donate today.
Be a smile maker. An automatic gift each month helps save the lives of children all year long.
Sponsored by J&J Garden Center in Layton.
A big thanks to other generous sponsors, including the Utah Hyundai dealers, for their amazing support of the kids of Primary Children's.
The KSL Give-a-thon. We can't do it without you. Please give today at KSLkids.com.
Spring has sprung, and you probably got a lot to get done before Memorial Day. Tim Hughes here again with my friends Greg and Mike from Replenish Landscape Garden Products. Of course, you hear us talk about Replenish Compost being so much different than anything else that's out there on the market. Greg, why is that?
Well, it's a great balanced material that's been around for 31 years. It's dark, it's rich, it feeds the plants, it works as a great mulch to suppress weeds and retain water.
The other thing is, it just looks great when you put it down. A lot of people use it just as a top dressing. You can, of course, come by here in Murray and pick it up yourself, or you can have it delivered, right, Mike?
Yeah, we can deliver it in a super big bag or in bulk or in the small bags.
They've been beautifying Utah 1 yard at a time, and yours is next. Give them a call today at 801-262-5142. You'll find them at 4660 South 200 West in Murray or online at replenishcompost.com. Replenish. It's good stuff.
An Australian hiker travels to the American West to walk a wilderness trail.
Wasn't afraid to be out on his own.
But Eric Robinson vanished in the high Uinta Mountains.
I remember thinking, Eric, what were you thinking, mate?
I'm Dave Cawley. Join me on my podcast, Uinta Triangle, where I travel the world to answer the question, what happened to Eric Robinson? Follow Uinta Triangle. That's UINTA Triangle on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
Home prices in Utah continue to stay high, but there's one area that is seeing quite a drastic drop in pricing. Thanks for tuning in to Midday with Maria Shilaos. According to the National Association of Realtors, home prices in Logan have come down enough for the city to be ranked 5th in the nation for price decline. The report says the median home sales price in Logan has dropped 5.8% from last year. Well, why? Well, that's what I wanted to know. Joining us to get to the heart of the story is the president of the Cache Valley Association of Realtors, Shelby Cardall. Shelby, thanks for being with me. Give us your overall thoughts on this report. Why do you think home prices in Logan have come down so much?
Yeah, happy to give my thoughts on this. As with any other realtor, we could talk real estate all day. You know, Logan tends to always have a slower start to the year, mainly due to one, seasonality. Nobody likes to be in northern Utah out showing houses or looking for homes during the winter. And two, we're a college town, right? We tend to definitely see most of our homes moving during those spring and summer months. So we are looking to see the market heat up a little bit there. But I think right now, the biggest reason for seeing that decline is the amount of building that we have going on, which is actually awesome for the affordability for our buyers right now.
So you mentioned those two factors. How does that make Logan and the Cache Valley different from other areas in terms of home pricing, though?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now with the amount of building that we have going on, it's really bringing in a lot of buyers with the ability to get into a decent home, to be able to ask for closing costs from sellers, which we haven't seen in the last few years, which is really great for our buyers right now. It's giving them a bit of a break and the ability to get into things, and having, you know, the increase in inventory gives buyers more options as well, which is exactly what they need right now.
You mentioned that slow start to the season because of the temperatures, but how is the market now? Are homes starting to sell pretty hotly?
They are. We're seeing all of our numbers increase kind of across the board, especially as far as Cache Valley in general goes. Most of the agents here, you know, Logan represents about 1/3 of Cache Valley's population. So a lot of us kind of rope it all in together because most people are happy to look in several surrounding areas as well. But we're seeing the market pick up just like we tend to see in the spring and summer months.
A lot of folks in northern Utah are looking for more affordable housing. So how affordable is Logan compared maybe to Salt Lake City?
Yeah, we are definitely more affordable than Salt Lake City, and also even more affordable is Ogden, which is only about, 45, 50 minutes away. Our market tends to lag behind Salt Lake. So a lot of times when they see the highs and lows, we'll see them about 6 months later, but ours are never as drastic as they are in some of those bigger cities.
Mm-hmm. So what's your average home price right now?
Yeah, so right now our average home price is sitting right around that 400, 430, 450 area.
What do you tell folks when they're considering moving to Logan? I mean, some people think, hey, that's too far away. I still work in Salt Lake City. So what are some of the factors they should consider?
Yeah, absolutely. So Logan has seen a lot of growth as far as businesses and new industry coming into the area. But we also have a lot of people who are willing to commute, where it only takes 45 minutes or an hour to get down into Ogden and Salt Lake. A lot of people are willing to do that drive either several times a week where they work remote, or even every day if needed. The prices are low enough here that I feel that draws a lot of people to come up to our area and get more green space, more mountains, more recreational activities as well.
Plus, Logan has changed a lot in recent years. I mean, you're kind of a cultural hotspot.
Logan has seen a lot of changes. I've lived here for just over 20 years now, and it's amazing the difference from what it was when I first moved here, but we also still are doing a great job of keeping that small town feel. You've still got the farms. You've got, new developments next to farmland. It makes it feel like it still has maintained its small feel.
Yeah, my last visit, I noticed you even have some great restaurants up there.
We do. Most people would not put us on the map thinking that we have good food up here, but we do. I think we can rival any of the bigger cities when it comes to our food.
Shelby, appreciate your time. Thanks for being with me.
You are so welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Shelby Cardall is the president of the Cache Valley Association of Realtors. Speaking of homes, have you seen your homeowner's insurance rates go up? Well, chances are you have. And it might not be a small increase either. It's probably been quite a huge jump. At least that's what I've seen personally. A new report from LendingTree says Utah stands out with a 71% spike in home insurance rates over the past 6 years. That is the third biggest increase nationwide. LendingTree home insurance analyst and licensed insurance agent Rob Bott spoke about that report with Debbie Dujanovic and Taylor Morgan this morning.
We've seen rates in Utah go up by about 40% over the past 6 years. Insurance rates are going up everywhere in the country, but in Utah, they're going up at a higher rate than they are in other places. Last year alone, the average price of insurance in Utah went up by 17%. That's like the highest. That's the seventh highest increase in the nation. You know, a lot of what's happening is more homes are being built in these these wildland interface area. They call them the urban wildland interface areas. These are the places where everyone wants to live. These are great places surrounded by trees and nature and away from, some of the asphalt and the pavement and all those things. But there's higher fire risk in these areas, and insurance companies are cognizant of these risks and the potential costs of what can happen if a wildfire does damage homes, because wildfires don't damage one home, they tend to damage several homes, and that just increases the cost that they have to pay out to rebuild those homes.
What about other states? We hear about insurance rates in California going up exponentially due to wildfires. So are they faring worse than us here in Utah? Debbie asked Bott about that too.
It's interesting how insurance works, and California has the publicized wildfires, which are incredibly destructive. But then California also has lots of homes that aren't in wildland areas, that are just in the flats, and that kind of helps. They have lower risks in those areas for these massive disasters, and so it kind of balances out for them a little bit.
Midday executive producer Andy Cupp wanted even more information and details on why these rates have risen so much.
In the past 4 years of owning my home, my homeowner's insurance rates have gone up more than 50%. I wanted to know more about why rates in Utah seem to be going up, so I reached out to the Utah Department of Insurance. They weren't able to join us on the phone, but they did give me a statement. And Public Information Officer Steve Gooch, he sent me some of his thoughts, saying it's true. They've seen some pretty steep increases in the cost of homeowners insurance here in Utah. Using data from 2018 to 2022, Gooch says the average price per policy increased roughly 40%. Much of that increase has been attributed to inflation and the increasing cost of building materials. When the cost to repair a damaged home increases, the cost to insure the home will also increase. Gooch said that historically, Utah has had some of the lowest homeowners insurance rates in the country, and the department believes that the recent rise in rates is a kind of market correction. Gooch believes that insurers are now being more realistic about Utah's risks, including wildfire and flood.
Gooch says that if your rates have risen too much, it's best to go shopping around for policies. He also encourages homeowners to discuss their policies with their current insurers, saying you may be able to lower your rates by making changes to your coverages and deductibles. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. An accredited state university, University of Maryland Global Campus offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
May I help you? I just wanted to request a late checkout, please.
Of course. That's $30 per hour for up to 4 hours.
Huh. Okay, but if you can offer a late checkout, then that probably means no one is staying in that room. So if it's empty, maybe I can just stay a few extra hours.
Oh, aren't you adorable?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Fire season just keeps getting longer and longer. Elevated fire risk now lasts about a month longer than it would in the 70s. John Smith with the North Tooele Fire District says Utah gets fires all year long, but some parts of the year are busier than others.
Obviously, as the temperatures get hot and the ground dries out, and on top of that, more people are outside recreating in these areas, target shooting, off-road vehicles, camping, things of that nature, tend to lead to more wildland fires than other times of the year. 92% of the outside fires here in the state of Utah are human caused.
Smith says this extra month we are seeing in the fire season is 37 days.
Now, a lot of that is because of climate change, which people will disagree with you. People will come up with very semantic arguments over that. But for whatever reason, our summers have been longer, hotter, and drier than in recent years. The other thing that goes along with that is population growth. People are moving into the state, and people are moving out of the traditional urban areas and into what we call the wildland urban interface. So people are moving into areas that have traditionally been wildland or unincorporated areas.
West Utah has seen a big increase in fire frequency.
A lot of that area is the salt flats, right? So there's not a lot of wildland fires the further west you go, but there is a lot of area surrounding that is very dry grass. You have the Muskrat area all the way down to the Stockton area. You have the Utah Test and Training Range. They have their own fire department out there as well. So you have a lot of area out there that is just ripe to burn. And traditionally, that hasn't been a big deal because there's nobody out there. But in the increase in freeway travel, you also have an increase in recreating. A lot of people camping, target shooting, people exploring the BLM lands or public lands on their side-by-sides and motorcycles, which, of course, we all love doing too. We as firefighters love doing those things too. We love being outdoors. That's part of what draws us into being wildland firefighters. But, with the increase in people recreating comes the increase in potential for fire danger.
That is John Smith with the North Tooele Fire District. With the heat wave on the way this week, it might be time to turn on the sprinklers. USU Extension horticulturalist and co-host of the KSL Greenhouse Show, Ton Bettis, says while it's normally around this time of year that we start watering our lawns, the highs this weekend may dry things out.
People think their lawns are dead. Within 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, with recommended watering, not overwatering, the lawn will recover. And so to prevent that from happening, you want to apply, and I know this is kind of hard to figure out, but the answer is about 1/2 of an inch of water in an average Utah soil. So a loam or a loamy clay covers probably 70% of the people along the Wasatch Front. And to know you've watered that much, you would run your sprinklers, say, for 30 minutes and give it 12 hours. And then you can either dig or get a long piece of rebar or a long screwdriver and just force it into the soil, and it will go in easily, where there's moisture, and you'll feel a lot more resistance when the water stops and the soil's dry. And you want to be able to go about 6 inches deep with that piece of rebar or long screwdriver to maybe a foot, and you've watered enough, and then you wait for 3 or 4 days and then do that again.
Ton says if you're watering the recommended amount but your lawn is still turning brown, it's not dead, it's dormant.
The lawn will survive for a season in a dormant state on 1 inch of water a month. And so if your lawn browns out, it's just a drought response. And what happens where Kentucky bluegrass and a lot of the lawn grasses are native, they normally go dormant in the summer because it's too hot, and they're green in the spring and fall. And we water them through the summer and they'll stay green, but they just kind of, it's not really languish, but they're not at their best in July and August especially. And so it's normal in the wild for them to go dormant, and we just force them to stay green.
Hear more from Ton and me every Saturday morning on the KSL Greenhouse Show from 8 to 11. More fees and new rules for airlines. We'll tell you about it after the break. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky?
Crash-free and delay-free on the Valley freeways. Again, it's Box Elder County, where we have that road closure, 11th South at Main Street in Brigham City due to an overturned semi. It's time to try UTA. Less stress, no traffic, and more U-Time. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Have a minute?
I love Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News. It's more of a personal take on the news from Jeff.
Get caught up on the latest news and hear Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News for thought-provoking, playful commentary.
It's usually funny. Like he's said before, it varies from day to day, and it's always entertaining.
My Minute of News, it puts a smile on my face.
If you have a minute, you need to catch Jeff's Minute. My Minute of News, weekdays from 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Are you looking for the perfect downtown lunch spot? The Garden Restaurant is opening on June 30th in Salt Lake City. Enjoy a reimagined space and a fresh, healthy menu featuring handcrafted sandwiches, rich soups, unique salads, and their famous homemade pot pies. You'll see and taste the difference in every menu item. The Garden is perfect for lunch meetings, taking a break while out shopping, or a spring stroll downtown. Visit the reimagined space with remarkable taste. Grab and go or stay and dine in using a new online ordering option. Find entry from the ground floor of the Joseph Smith Memorial Building, open Monday through Friday, 11 to 3. Visit thegardenslc.com to learn more. Fresh Flavors' iconic location. The Garden Restaurant is opening June 30th. Hope to see you there. Visit thegardenslc.com to learn more. thegardenslc.com.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money. But do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At Capital Wealth Advisors, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the Capital Wealth Advisors team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 801-210-5500. That's 801-210-5500. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. Capital Wealth Advisors, 801-210-5500. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
History had the gold rush, then came the oil boom, the tech boom, but right now it's the Wi-Fi boom, and Xfinity Wi-Fi is booming. Xfinity has everything you need to tap into the Wi-Fi boom with seriously powerful and seriously reliable connection. It's got 99.99% network reliability and incredibly low lag, so your streams are smoother than making a decision on what to stream. Did I mention you can even connect to hundreds of devices so you, your kids, your parents, your visitors, and whoever else is home can all experience the Wi-Fi boom with Xfinity. And the Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Get the most reliable Wi-Fi and the best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years, guaranteed all in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract, all with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com to learn more. Restrictions apply, not available in all areas. New residential customers only, select plans only. Xfinity Gateway and XFi Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
You are listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. A second arrest has been made in a large alleged crypto kidnapping in New York City. ABC's Stephanie Ramos reports.
32-year-old crypto investor William Duplessis turning himself in early this morning. 37-year-old John Waltz, another crypto investor, was arrested Friday, charged with kidnapping, assault, and criminal possession of a firearm. The alleged victim, a 28-year-old Italian national, telling authorities his captors took his passport, tied him up, and demanded his Bitcoin password. When he refused, he says the suspects shocked him with electric wires, beat him with a firearm, and dangled him over a ledge.
The victim was hospitalized after what authorities say was a 3-week nightmare. Waltz has another appearance in court today, too. Moving to news with airports and airplanes, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says Newark Airport is experiencing little disruption now, and crews are working to revamp its air traffic control facilities. Replacing old copper wire with fiber optics is part of that process, and Duffy explains why an earlier deadline of late May was pushed back.
We're going to go through a laborious process on testing to make sure when we flip it over, we don't have any disruption. And so the FAA is going to use an abundance of caution And I think that's appropriate, which is why we're going to go back to the end of June, early July, if it all goes well.
Meantime, the free lunch is over on Southwest Airlines. Bags no longer fly free starting today. Founder of the Points Guy website, Brian Kelly, talked about it on Good Morning America. He says it's not just Southwest that's increasing fees.
All airlines are adding fees. That's how the airlines are making money these days. Last year, over $7 billion in fees. And investors are aiming, they say Southwest could make over $1 billion just in this baggage fee this year. But it's not just low-cost airlines that have these fees. All the major airlines have it. And get this, they're even adding fees in business class and first class. Certain airlines now will charge you $100. Imagine this, you spend $7,000 on a business class ticket, and now there's still, some airlines are adding fees just to choose a seat in business class. So fees are here to stay, and it's important to know how to hopefully get around them.
Sadly, Kelly says these fees aren't going anywhere.
The airlines have merged. There's not choice. Consumers are looking and say, well, if you don't want to fly Southwest, every other airline is charging the same fees. So what I recommend to people is just choose the airline that has the best on-time performance. You know, Delta consistently comes in as the most on-time airline, because if you're going to pay these fees, you might as well get to where you're going on time. If you don't live in a Delta city, though, I always recommend just choose nonstop, get there the quickest.
Southwest Airlines today beginning its first ever checked bag fees. The airline is charging $35 for a first checked bag, $45 for a second checked bag on many tickets. In other airplane news, sit back, relax, or be fined. Turkey institutes rules against aisle crashing. ABC's Start Here host Brad Milkey explains.
It's one of the most obnoxious parts of the modern airplane experience. Your plane lands, you taxi to the gate, that little bell goes off above your head, and a bunch of people try to race to the front of the plane all at the same time. You understand what they think they're doing. They think they're about to deplane faster. What authorities say they're actually doing is creating a nuisance, even a hazard for everyone else on board. Well, yesterday, the head of Turkey's Civilian Aviation Directorate, kind of the Turkish version of the FAA, approved new rules for arriving flights. Under this protocol, you can be fined for crashing the aisle. There are two parts to these new rules. The first is, don't unbuckle your seatbelt until we are done taxiing to our gate. In my experience, American flights are pretty good about this, though in Turkey it's apparently become a problem. Everyone gets up. But you'll also be expected here to observe a deplaning protocol, which is almost never enforced on American flights. Under this rule, you'd only be allowed to stand up when the row in front of you is filing out. Break any of those directives, we're told, and you'll be fined. A Turkish broadcaster says the price will probably be 2,600 Turkish lira, which is about $67 US. The reason for all this, of course, is it's not just poor form. You think you're the only one who wants off this plane 30 seconds earlier? Now, airline professionals say once people are jamming these aisles, it's way tougher to clear the way for a medical emergency or for people with really tight connections. Now, some people really do like to stand upon arrival. Your butt's gotten sore over hours, plus the poor person in the middle seat has been jammed between elbows. Why not give everyone just a little variety? But sorry, early standers, the early exiters have ruined it for the rest of you.
And producer Andy says that since he's an aisle seat guy, he's going to stand in the aisle now and prevent people from rushing to the front. Hello, it's 2:30, midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour, a new counsel from the governor to plan for Utah's growth. From tragedy to triumph, one teen's journey to graduation. And KSL traffic. Ricky?
We do have a good drive on the Valley freeways. A KSL texter saying there's an accident over the bridge of the Union Park Bridge at I-215 South Belt. Maria?
Thanks, Ricky. KSL's top local stories in 1 minute. First, the latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Wayne Cabot. Desperate to live, Palestinians stormed a UN World Food Program warehouse today, some tearing pieces of metal off the walls trying to get inside to feed starving families. The heartbreaking scenes leading Palestine's UN ambassador to break down.
The images of mothers embracing their motionless bodies, caressing their hair, talking to them, apologizing to them. It's unbearable. How could anyone?
A new strain of COVID is showing up in airport screenings of international travelers who are arriving in California, Washington State, Virginia, and New York. The World Health Organization says there's no reason for alarm. It's not necessarily more dangerous. Twisters could hit parts of Colorado, Kansas, and Oklahoma through 10 p.m. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story, your 401k could include cryptocurrency options in the future. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla has more.
The U.S. Department of Labor is withdrawing its previous warning against including crypto options in retirement plans. DMBA certified financial planner Shane Stewart says he thinks it's a sign the department has more confidence in the regulation of digital currency.
The regulatory bodies are starting to figure out what to look for when it comes to fraud and when it comes to shady dealings with crypto. So they're learning. There still haven't been a lot of rules around it, but they're learning what they might need to do.
Stewart says the investments are still extremely unpredictable, and the department is not endorsing it, but the risk is lower than it's ever been. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Fire season lasts a month longer than it did in the 70s.
A climate research group pulled historical records and found that in western Utah, there are 34 more hot and dry days in 2024 when compared to 1973. They called this fire weather, and Utah isn't alone. The average in southwestern U.S. is 37 days. North Tooele Fire District Officer John Smith says it's pretty clear to see there has been some climate change over time, and as we move into summer, to be aware. Around 92% of wildland fires in the state are caused by humans, most from traveling along the freeways or from recreation.
KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reporting. If you haven't started watering your lawn yet, experts say it's time to get started. KSL Greenhouse Show co-host and Utah State University Extension horticulturist Ton Betta says watering twice a week should be enough, but with this 90-degree heat wave that we've caught in store this week, he says you might want to water an extra time.
If it hasn't received moisture in the last week or so, then as soon as we hit 90, then it will go dormant really fast.
Ton says, though, if you are watering your lawn, you don't have to worry about it dying in this heat. He says grass can survive a month or more without any water. Other local stories KSL is following. The groundbreaking for the Vancouver, Washington Temple for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints now has a date. Ceremony set for August 23rd of this year. It was first announced during the October 2023 General Conference. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow ending the day down nearly 245 points, more than 0.5%, sitting at 42,098. S&P 500 down by 32 points, and the NASDAQ down by 98, both of those down by 0.5%. Traffic and weather brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky?
We do have good speeds on all the Valley freeways. No problems reported on our main secondaries. Again, it's Box Elder County drivers. You need to have an alternate plan to get to I-15 between Medical Drive, about 8th West, and I-15 if you're at 11th South due to a rolled semi blocking traffic at Main Street. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Not much chance of showers in the 7-day forecast. A slight chance today, and then not a slight chance again until Sunday. On Monday, though, 60% chance of showers. Expect 90s through Sunday. 84 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does your job require you to be on your feet all day? Teachers, postal carriers, salespeople, and restaurant staff. Many of us need our feet to get us through the day. Hi, this is Mike with the Good Feet store, and I'd like you to hear from Donna. She's a nurse and a real customer of the Good Feet store who wanted to share her story.
Oh, I have to tell you, I have struggled with pain in my feet. I was diagnosed with plantar fasciitis. With the 3-step program, it really fits to your lifestyle. I work in a hospital. I'm a registered nurse, so being on my feet, walking throughout the hospital during the day, I am free from any type of pain. And after working a 12-hour shift, I go home and my feet do not hurt.
Whether you're a nurse or anyone wanting to enjoy work without your feet getting in the way, come see us at the Good Feet store.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Schedule your free test walk at goodfeet.com.
1 in 6 Utah kids face hunger.
And the summer months make things even more challenging because families can no longer rely on school meals to help them get by. These days, the situation is more dramatic than ever. That's why Utah Food Bank is again holding its annual Summer Business Food and Fund Drive, encouraging organizations of all sizes to gather food for donations for families. Beginning in early June and running through the end of August, the Summer Business Food and Fund Drive is your chance to make a difference for families seeking emergency food requests to help stretch their budgets. Rally your coworkers, friends, or a community group of any size to make a collection. Every dollar earned turns into more than $7 in the form of goods and services to help those in need. What are you waiting for? Organize your Summer Business Food and Fund Drive today. To find out more or to get ideas for your own DIY fundraiser, visit utahfoodbank.org.
If you've got a honey-do list with electrical, plumbing, heating, or air conditioning projects on it, Any Hour Services can help. Call Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. anyhourservices.com.
You were listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. Today, Governor Spencer Cox launched the New Build Coordinating Council. The new council brings together state agencies to collaboratively plan for the long term, especially in terms of housing, transportation, water, energy, and more. The goal, make the most of shared opportunities to plan for Utah's growing future while still preserving the quality of life that Utahns have come to know and expect. Laura Hansen, Senior Advisor for Long Range Planning and State Planning Coordinator, joins me to go more in-depth on this initiative. Laura, thanks for being with me. Tell me a little bit more about this council and its specific purpose.
Thank you so much. Yes, we're very excited about this. We conducted a survey back in 2003 of Utahns and asked them about what they thought about the future of the state, and we learned that folks are a little bit anxious about the growth that we are experiencing and that they were worried about losing the great quality of life that we have here in Utah. And so we at the governor's office wanted to respond to that and make sure that we are being intentional with all of the work that we're doing to move us towards the type of future that Utahns want. So at any given time, there are probably a dozen different long-range planning efforts happening at the state. There's long-range transportation plans, long-range water plans, energy plans, housing plans, on and on and on. And every single one of these planning efforts is an opportunity for us to move the state towards these shared goals and the types of things that Utahns care about and want to see happen. And so the purpose of this council is really to bring a very broad group of stakeholders together, various different policy areas at the state level, but also private sector partners, the Olympic Committee, and local and regional governments to talk about what we want Utah to look like and make sure that we're all headed and rowing in the same direction.
So what does that look like exactly? Are you going to come up with some priorities first off and then start tackling some of the areas?
Yeah, so we know from our past survey work that Utahns really care about housing affordability, they care about water conservation, they care about convenience and choices in their transportation options, and they care about preserving open space and great recreational opportunities. There's a lot of other things that Utahns care about that didn't come out in that survey, like air quality, making sure that, we have clean water that comes out of the tap and the electricity turns on when we flip the switch. So we'll probably start with those topics and establish some high-level goals on what we want to try to accomplish as the state. And then all the various different partners that are working on these long-range plans will come to this council, share what they are working on, and then the members of the council will have an opportunity to ask questions, to make new connections and say, somebody in my department is doing something that might affect the work that you're doing. Let's get those together and see if we can leverage our resources and better align and coordinate the work that we're doing to make sure that that we're aligned.
Yeah, has there ever been a collaboration like this before?
There have been iterations that have been similar to this. Way back in the early 1990s, there was a body that was created called the Quality Growth Commission. And that was a great group, but it evolved and sort of fizzled out over time. But one thing that's different about this group and that group is that this new council brings together not only state agencies, but also private sector, local government, and state government all into one place. And I think it's even broader in focus than the original commission. The good news is we have been in a position of rapid growth before. We know what to do. We know how to roll up our sleeves and get to work and make sure that we're proactively thinking about where we want to be in the future and making sure we end up in the right place.
So describe how the challenges today are different than that first council.
Well, I think the challenges today we're just bigger, right? Utah is an exceptional place to live, and as long as we're a high-quality place, we're going to continue to have new people join us here, and we have large families, and we want our kids to be able to continue to stay here and want to stay here. So I think one of the bigger challenges is that we just simply have more people to deal with now, but also we're facing new constraints on natural resources that we didn't have back in the 1990s. The Great Salt Lake is at a dangerously low level. We are, with the advent of AI, we're using energy like we never have before. And so we have some new challenges that we didn't have previously that we're going to have to be really intentional about.
Sounds like you're pretty excited about this council. Any final thoughts you'd like to leave us with?
I don't, other than, we want to be in the driver's seat, and Utahns can be reassured that the growth that our state is experiencing is not going to damage or ruin the way Utah is today, and we're going to make sure that we end up in an even better place.
Laura, appreciate your time. Thanks for being with me.
Thank you. Take care.
You too. That is Laura Hansen. She's a senior advisor for long-range planning and the state planning coordinator. Midday with Maria Shilaos continues in just 60 seconds.
This is Jill Schlesinger. May is Military Appreciation Month, and I know how much I appreciate the military. I married into a military family. I hear from so many members of the military, and Navy Federal Credit Union wants us to celebrate those who go above and beyond for us every day. If you're active duty, a veteran, or part of a military family, you're eligible to join. At Navy Federal Credit Union, the members are the mission. Learn more at NavyFederal.org/celebrate. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
From tragedy to triumph, one West Valley teen has had a difficult path getting to high school graduation this year. But this morning, he did it. Amid a sea of red graduation gowns and with thunderous applause from the audience, he received his diploma from Granger High School.
Shaw Ray.
Shaw Ray lost most of his entire family in a murder-suicide last year. He was shot in the head, resulting in the loss of vision and severe brain injuries. KSL 5 TV's Brian Carlson was there at the graduation ceremony this morning.
Rising up and moving forward for a crowd of thousands. Today marks a monumental achievement for new Granger High School graduate Shaw Ray. Ray walking across the stage with the class of 2025.
I'm just so happy I get to graduate.
Ray received his diploma despite overwhelming odds. Back in December, in a horrific tragedy, police say Ray's father fatally shot his mother and two sisters, but Ray survived. His gunshot wound to the head left Ray nearly blind and severely injured, forcing him to adapt to an entirely new life without sight.
It's very hard. It was very hard for me at the beginning, but I think I'm getting more used to it now.
Completing his courses now through Braille in just a few short months. His teachers consider him an inspiration.
He's one of the hardest working individuals I've ever taught in my career of teaching.
Ray is simply grateful for this moment.
I want to make my friends and family proud.
And encourages others facing adversity to never give up.
No matter the place you call home or the broken bones along the road, just know that you're not alone.
He's walking down a new path for the future.
Despite all of the challenges and heartache he's experienced, Shaw tells KSL TV that he's been able to achieve a major milestone.
My high school journey, it's been wonderful. When I look back at it, it's filled with so much memories of my friends and family that it makes me a bit emotional at times. But I don't really regret anything. I'm just so happy.
After he lost his vision, he had to relearn how to learn.
Very hard. It was very hard for me at the beginning, but I think I'm getting more used to it now. I would just have these flashcards, and I would study them for maybe an hour or so, more than I would used to.
He says his friends have been incredibly important to him as he's gone through everything.
I think one of my best memories here is meeting one of my best friends here. He's been with me through this as well. And I'm just grateful for the people I've met. I think that's my best memories.
Shaw says that it's important for him to keep moving forward despite all of the hardships that he's faced, especially in the past year.
I want to make my friends and family proud, and I want to make them proud, my family proud.
He spoke to KSL TV about the plans he has now after graduation.
I wanted to go to the University of Utah, and I wanted to go into pre-law or political science. It's a bit tricky because I've also wanted to serve my mission in Japan, but I think I'll have to switch things up and just focus on my education for now. I'm not sure.
Are you excited for your next step?
Yes.
What are you most excited about?
I'm really excited to just be on a new path I've always wanted to go into law, and I'm wishing for the best.
And we wish him the best as he continues on with determination, faith, and strength. New players coming to the Utah Mammoth NHL team. But first, it's KSL Traffic brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Ricky?
Looks like we have a new accident in Midvale, southbound I-15 approaching 7200 south. They're in the fast lane. Looks like 5 vehicles bumped into each other, and they're just sitting in that inside left lane. We're still waiting for emergency crews. Whether you park it, stripe it, or pave it, GoPave Utah has your blacktop covered at gopaveutah.com. That's gopaveutah.com. Call or visit gopaveutah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness, and Utah isn't immune.
With nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or some other form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe. KSL has teamed with 988 Utah, the free suicide and crisis lifeline, to bring you hope and help you thrive.
If you or a loved one is experiencing a mental health crisis, call or text 988.
because a healthy mind matters.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Join the KSL Movie Show this Friday at Advanced Window Products from 10 a.m. to 1. Tune in for a show special for KSL listeners from Advanced Window Products.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot, 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 and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh, yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Hi, it's Tori DeVito. In every family, small conversations can make a big impact. Like when my dad shared his experiences as an alcoholic.
Your honesty about that part of your life gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted to uphold in my own life.
I wanted you to know, from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now, that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs. I said it a lot, and I'm glad you took it to heart.
Talk, they hear you. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to Bundle Deal Days at AutoZone.
Well, I do need a bundle of things.
When you bundle, you save.
Do I save if I bundle oil with an oil filter?
Save up to $12 on that bundle.
What about brake pads and rotors?
Bundle those and the brake pads are free.
Can't save more than free.
You can save on hundreds of deals during Bundle Deal Days. Ends June 2nd at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply. Duralast brake pads only.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
This is Midday. The Utah Mammoth have signed 2 players the team drafted in 2023 to entry-level contracts. Host of the Utah Puck Report for KSL Sports, Jay Stevens, joined me live earlier in the show to break down who these new players are.
Very exciting, very exciting. So, and yeah, you mentioned 2023. We had 2 first-round draft picks, one of them being Daniel Boots, he made an impact on Utah. He played in the development camp game, the first game at the Delta Center. He's a 6'6", 215-pound, 20-year-old forward. He's kind of a bully on the ice. He's very agile. He scored like 4 goals in that development camp game. So we're really excited to see him. And what was kind of one of the worst kept secrets and one of the players that GM Bill Armstrong's talked about the most is Dmitry Simashev. They both were playing in the KHL in Russia. They both just won the championship, had great seasons. Simashev was the 6th overall pick in 2023 by the Arizona Coyotes. And he is also a 6'5", 210-pound defenseman, which is exactly what we've been looking for. And again, he's a bit of a bully. So yeah, and we signed him to entry-level contracts, so they only eat up less than $1 million a year, which leaves us more money to go out and find one of those exciting free agents everybody's talking about.
Okay, you made it sound like that's a small amount. But first of all, why did the team wait to sign them until now?
It's pretty common to draft somebody because in the NHL, you draft at 18 years old, and then you give them a couple years to develop, especially if they're playing somewhere like in Russia or in the NCAA. And, Utah or, GM Bill Armstrong definitely knew that they'd develop well in the KHL. It's one of the top leagues under the NHL. And so we got to watch them develop for free, give them a couple years to age and be better, and then sign them to their entry-level contracts now. So now we have them until the season 27-28, like I said, $950,000 a year. So it's a great deal. We've been really excited about these two players.
Okay, you mentioned that these guys are both kind of bullies on the ice. Is that what the Mammoth need right now? What do they bring to the team?
That's exactly what they need. The Utah Mammoth is a very heavy finesse team. We have a lot of smaller guys that are high finesse players, and now we're bringing in some big guys that also have some finesse. So we're not taking anything away from the talent of the team. We're just putting a couple players out there that'll, take the body a little bit more and give us some more space for our other talented players. So they're talented, they're big, and they're gonna create space and maybe earn a little bit of respect for our lines out there.
Host of the Utah Puck Report for KSL Sports, Jay Stevens. Well, let's shift gears from sports to tech. The latest on today's tech trends from ABC's Mike Dubusky.
From ABC News Tech Trends, Pew Research finds just 22% of American adults think college is worth it if they have to take out a student loan to attend. And it all comes as artificial intelligence poses a major threat to some industries. Business Insider's Amanda Hoover says that means some young people are opting to skip college altogether.
Yes, so many jobs that were really looked at as lucrative and stable. Think about software engineering, consulting, even legal marketing jobs. All of these are kind of at risk of automation. We don't know what's going to happen yet, but there's a concern that entry-level jobs will be the first to go.
She says instead, Gen Z is increasingly looking to trade jobs or going into business for themselves, where AI can play a role as well.
They want to start their own business. It makes it easier to automate appointment scheduling. It makes it easier to craft emails, to do your own marketing materials if you don't have experience in that, or to send out emails to clients and figure out what to say as you're starting out.
With Tech Trends, I'm Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
We've all heard of Stonehenge, but have you heard of Manhattanhenge? It's a thing in New York City, and it's happening today.
It's a stunning event that occurs twice a year when the setting sun aligns perfectly with Manhattan's east and west street grid, creating a breathtaking view of the sun framed by the city's skyscrapers.
It is almost spiritual. I've waited 20 years to see that, and it actually sets exactly in the middle of the street. I didn't expect that.
Manhattanhenge got its name from Stonehenge, the prehistoric monument in England where the sun aligns with the stones during the summer and winter solstice. It's more than just a beautiful sunset. It's a fascinating demonstration of the intersection between urban design and astronomy, coined by astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson. This rare event typically happens around late May and mid-July.
Okay, Jeff Kaplan is here. You should know about this. You're from New York.
I have a friend who photographs it every year. The only problem is 30,000 people with photo tripods all shooting the same thing. I'll take 200 North Henge in Kaysville.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News is next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon, 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan. We're at 85 degrees, KSL's top story. Months after he was shot in the head, a West Valley teen graduated from high school today. We have team coverage, beginning with KSL TV's Brian Carlson, who was at the ceremony this morning.
Ray received his diploma despite overwhelming odds. Back in December, in a horrific tragedy, police say Ray's father fatally shot his mother and two sisters, but Ray survived. His gunshot wound to the head left Ray nearly blind and severely injured, forcing him to adapt to an entirely new life without sight. Completing his courses now through Braille in just a few short months, His teachers consider him an inspiration.
He's one of the hardest working individuals I've ever taught in my career of teaching.
Ray is simply grateful for this moment.
So what's next for Shah Ray, this newly minted graduate? KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera with that part of the story.
18-year-old Shah Ray is the sole survivor of a devastating murder-suicide that took the lives of his parents and siblings. Despite it all, he's graduating from Granger High with a nearly perfect GPA, on a mission to give back.
I think I want to go into family law because I just value families a lot and I want to be able to help them.
Shah Ray says it's the support of his classmates and community that's helped him move forward, and has a message for anyone who feels lost.
No matter the place you call home or the broken bones along the road, just know that you're not alone.
Walking across the stage today with more than a diploma, he's walking with purpose. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour, President Trump continues to talk smack about Vladimir Putin after saying that Putin's gone crazy, bombing civilians in Ukraine. Today, the president once again expressed his frustration.
I'm very disappointed at what happened a couple of nights now where people were killed in the middle of what you would call a negotiation. I'm very disappointed by that.
Though the president wants to see more peace talks, U.S. brokered negotiations to end the war have fizzled. The one-time king of Doge says he's disappointed with the president's big, beautiful bill. ABC News correspondent Stephen Portnoy with more from Washington.
Elon Musk says a bill can be big or beautiful, but not both, telling CBS.
I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill.
Musk echoes the concerns of Senate GOP budget hawks who say the bill would increase annual deficits rather than reducing them. The White House pushes back, with senior aide Stephen Miller saying on social media that in addition to cutting taxes and implementing the president's energy and border policies, the bill's Medicaid changes constitute the single largest welfare reform in American history. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
The chairman of the Democratic National Committee is in Utah this week. State Democratic official Talon Hansen met with him.
He said something that really stuck out to me, which is when we organize everywhere, we can win anywhere, which is kind of what we're trying to do here at the state party.
Hansen says that DNC Chair Ken Martin talked about, well, what else? How to capitalize on Utah's rapid growth to win more Democratic voters. The state of Utah is working to be better at long-term planning. Governor Cox has announced the Build Coordinating Council today. It brings together both public and private leaders to plan Utah's future growth. Senior advisor for long-range planning Laura Hansen told Midday with Maria Shilaos they used feedback from Utahns.
We know from our past survey work that Utahns really care about housing affordability. They care about water conservation. They care about convenience and choices in their transportation options, and they care about preserving open space and great recreational opportunities.
The governor says this council, this Build Council, will help the state make decisions that will help preserve the quality of life Utahns have come to know and expect. A majority of mothers of younger children say they aren't in a healthy mental space now. The study from JAMA Internal Medicine found in 2016, 40% of mothers surveyed said their mental health was excellent, but now in 2023, the number dropped from 40 to 26%.
We have to get rid of the mom guilt. So I hear so many women, myself included, who say, I can't take an hour out of my day away from my kids to do things like exercise or take a walk or focus on my sleep or maybe meet with friends because we feel guilty, right? That has to move up on our priority list.
ABC News chief medical correspondent Dr. Tara Narula there. Kevin Costner is being sued for sexual harassment on the set of Horizon 2. A stunt woman charges that she was subjected to an unscripted rape scene without proper warning. Devin DeBella claims that she suffered emotional distress after the first Horizon movie had a weak box office. The sequel, Horizon 2, has yet to be released. KSL News Time 3:05. The rush is on. Ricky Meese is here, and we're starting off with emergency traffic, huh?
Yep, we are coming in hot. It's due to a multiple vehicle crash on southbound I-15 in Midvale. A couple of left lanes are blocked. We have stop-and-go delays already back to 45th South in Murray. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
All right, thank you, Ricky. My minute of news is on the way. I have to warn you, it's boring, but stay here nonetheless. My minute's on the way.
The most important part of all our news stories at KSL are the people involved. Introducing an expanded noon news show. Listen to Midday with Maria Shilaos. Listen in your car between noon and 3 on KSL News Radio.
Insurance company.
We're in St. George, and Jenny found a home online that she really loved.
And then we went through it with our realtor. He started pointing out things that were going to just lead us to a money pit.
We would have been in this house $50,000 or more in repairs.
With the help of our realtor, we were